Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com.
Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Unmasked, Dracula's Feast, and it's from Jelly Bean Games. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out even more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, Dracula's Feast, Unmasked Dracula's Feast, is a competitive deduction hidden roll logic game. You and the other players are monsters, or maybe people hunting those monsters. Dracula has had is having a party, hence the name of the game, and has invited all these people or monsters over to the party. But of course, there are party crashers in the form of characters like Van Helsing, and you now have to figure out which guest is which, because the party crashers are masquerading as actual monsters. So it's a game of trying to figure out what the other players are by asking them yes or no, like, are you this thing? And they say yes or no. Or you dance with them, which means you get a lot of information about them. You get to see each other's cards and so on. And you can even make outright accusations or the grand reveal where you try to guess what everyone is. But those things can have their own consequences. So, let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game. So keep that in mind. What you see in this version may be different than what's in the final version. But in any case, then we're going to come back and we'll discuss it further. Unmasked Dracula's Feast is a competitive game for 4 to 8 players. The goal of the game is to be the first player to publicly and correctly announce the identities of every other player at the table. To set up the game, shuffle all of the guest cards and randomly choose a number of them equal to the number of players, and then add in the Dracula card. Take the corresponding accusation cards and place them face up in the center of the table, so that everyone knows what roles are in the game. Shuffle the chosen guest cards and deal one card out to each player, which they look at but keep face down without saying anything about it. The remaining card will be placed face down in the center of the table with no one looking at it. That card is the mystery guest. Every player is also given a yes card and a no card, kept face down for now. Decide who goes first. On your turn, you have one action to take, and you have several options for what to do with it. You can question another player. Ask them out loud if they are a particular guest. That player silently hands you a yes or a no card in response without showing the other players, and then takes it back. You can ask a player to dance. If they agree, each of you shows the other person your guest card. If they refuse, nothing happens. If you do dance, you cannot ever accuse that player or reveal their identity publicly. Speaking of accusing, you can accuse another player. Grab one of the accusation cards and place it in front of them. If you accused correctly, that player reveals themselves immediately and they are banished from the rest of the game and cannot participate. If you were wrong in your accusation, however, that other player simply says that you're wrong, does nothing, and you are banished and reveal your card. You can even do this to the mystery guest, with you secretly looking at the card to confirm its identity, and again, if you're wrong, you're out. Lastly, you may instead do the grand reveal. Place an accusation card in front of every other player. Then every player chooses a yes or no card appropriately and places it face down in a pile. These cards are then shuffled and revealed. If even one card said no, you are banished and the game proceeds. But if they all say yes, you win the game. Monster abilities will come into play a lot. For instance, Dracula gets another turn after he's banished to try and win. Alucard wants to be like Dracula and will win if incorrectly accused of being Dracula during someone's grand reveal. The Trickster will always dance, but when questioned will always say yes to every question. And the Magic Mirror will always get a chance to look at the mystery guest before going on with the grand reveal. Keep playing until someone makes their grand reveal and is successful at it. That is Unmasked Dracula's Feast. There are a lot of things that make Unmasked Dracula's Feast accessible and able to be played and enjoyed potentially by a wide variety of players. One of them is the fact that it has, a very cute theme. It's a theme that everyone can sort of find some sort of interest in, and the fact that there are so many roles in the game means that the theme is tied tightly to the mechanisms, because now every character does something different. It's thematic to the type of character that they are, the type of monster, classic monster, and so it makes sense. And so a lot of people can get attached to that theme, but also it's a very simple game to learn and to play, and very fast to play. But just because it's simple doesn't mean there's not decision making to be had. You have to very carefully, and this is where the logic and deduction part comes in, very carefully think about what the other players are, who you're going to choose to potentially accuse at the risk of being banished, and when you finally want to make your grand reveal, which you have to do before any other players do it successfully, at least. And that can have, there's a lot of tension there. Like, when do you do it? And when is the right time? Just what do you know? What don't you know? It's also dangerous you can dance with other players, assuming they're willing to do so, or they might be compelled to. We'll get back to that in a second. But is that giving away too much information? You learn what someone else is, they learn what you are, and now you've narrowed it down for both of those players, yourself and the other player. So that can be a dangerous thing as well, because only one player is ultimately going to win. And the fact that every player has this different ability is not only thematic, but also means you're always just second-guessing yourself, like, well, did that player readily agree to dance with me because they were compelled to do so, like Alucard? They have to do it? Or is it just because they wanted to get more information? You don't really know the answer to that. You can only speculate. So there's a lot of things going on like that make that, again, the game is very simple and fast to learn, but there's another layer to it that you could miss if you just glanced at it and saw that there's not a lot of cards in the game. So I think that if you like logic and deduction puzzles, and if you like hidden role games in particular, you also like fast and easy games that can be played with casual gamers, but also because there's just enough depth to the game, can also be played with gamers who like more complicated logic and hidden role games, then you should definitely at least check out Unmasked Dracula's Feast on Kickstarter. If you follow the link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as in the description section underneath this video, you can find the Kickstarter page, find out more information than I could possibly have told you here, and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Unmasked Dracula's Feast from Jelly Bean Games. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsors. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.